We all know her, standing tall and proud in New York Harbor, a global symbol of freedom and democracy, as a Statue of Liberty. But what if I told you the face we see today wasn't the original one? What if I told you the story of Lady Liberty is intertwined with another woman, a woman whose legacy was deliberately erased from history? This is the story of the first Statue of Liberty, and the powerful black woman she was meant to be. Let's rewind to the 1860s. The American Civil War has just ended, and slavery has been abolished. In France, a group of intellectuals, staunch abolitionists who had supported the Union, wanted to create a monument to celebrate this hard-won freedom and the enduring friendship between France and America. The leader of this group was a man named Edouard de La Boulaye, a prominent political thinker and an outspoken opponent of slavery. La Boulaye commissioned a young, ambitious sculptor named Frederick Auguste Bartholdi to bring this vision to life. The project was massive, a gift from the people of France to the people of the United States. It was to be called Liberty Enlightening the World. Now here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. Bartholdi's initial designs, his very first models for the statue, were not the Romanesque figure we know today. His early sketches and clay models depicted a woman with distinct features, wearing a broken shackle and chain in her left hand and holding a torch aloft in her right. And who was this woman? According to many historical accounts, including information from the National Park Service, this figure was intended to represent a freed black woman, a powerful symbol of emancipation. Think about it, a monument celebrating the end of slavery, gifted by abolitionists. It makes perfect sense that the central figure would be a representation of those who had been freed. The broken chains weren't just a general symbol of liberty, they were a direct and visceral reference to the end of chattel slavery. This original statue was a bold, unambiguous statement about the triumph of human rights and the abolitionist cause. The statue's face in these early models was not the generalized, classical face we see now. It was modeled after a specific person, a woman of color. Embodying the resilience and spirit of newly freed African Americans, her expression was one of strength and newfound hope. This wasn't just liberty. This was a specific, poignant story of liberation. The torch represented enlightenment, yes, but for a people stepping out of the darkness of bondage into the light of freedom. So, what happened? Why don't we see this powerful black woman standing in New York Harbor today? The answer lies in the complex and often fraught politics of post-Civil War America. When Bartholdi traveled to America to pitch the statue and find a location, he encountered a country still deeply divided. The Reconstruction era was a time of immense social and political tension. While slavery was abolished, the fight for true equality had just begun. The idea of erecting a colossal statue of a black woman, a monument celebrating emancipation, was, to put it mildly, controversial for many in the American establishment. The fundraising committees in the United States, composed of wealthy and influential white patrons, were hesitant. They worried that such an explicit tribute to the abolition of slavery would be divisive, particularly in the South, and would alienate potential donors. They wanted a more universal, less political symbol. The pressure was immense. La Boulaye and Bartholdi were faced with a difficult choice: stick to their original, powerful vision and risk the entire project failing, or compromise. They chose to compromise. The design was slowly, methodically, altered. The distinctly African features of the original model were swapped and classicized into the more generic Greco-Roman face we recognize today, reportedly modeled after Bartholdi's own mother. The most significant change, however, was what happened to the chains. The broken shackle and chain, the undeniable symbol of emancipation, were moved from her hand. They were relegated to her feet, partially obscured by her long robes. In her left hand, she now holds a tabula ansata, a tablet inscribed with the date of the Declaration of Independence, July 4, 1776. This shifted the statue's primary meaning. It was no longer a celebration of the end of slavery in 1865, but a tribute to America's independence from Britain nearly a century earlier. The statue's narrative was sanitized. The specific story of black liberation was erased and replaced with a more abstract, generalized concept of liberty. The woman they had intended to honor was effectively hidden from view, her story buried beneath layers of copper and political compromise. When the statue was finally dedicated in 1886, the official speeches barely mentioned the abolition of slavery. The focus was on French-American friendship and the ideals of the American Revolution. For African Americans at the time, this was a bitter pill to swallow. An editorial in the Cleveland Gazette, a black newspaper, pointed out the hypocrisy, stating, Liberty, enlightening the world. Indeed, the expression makes us sick. This government is a howling farce. They saw a statue celebrating a liberty that, for them, still felt frustratingly out of reach. For decades, this origin story was largely forgotten, relegated to the footnotes of history. The official narrative, the one of the gift celebrating 1776, became the dominant one. It was a simpler, more comfortable story for mainstream America to tell itself. But history has a way of resurfacing, thanks to the work of historians, researchers, and organizations like the National Park Service. The truth about the original statue has come back into the light. We now know that the Statue of Liberty we see today is a ghost of its former self, a compromise born of political pressure. Does this change how we see the statue? It should. It adds a layer of complexity and depth to this iconic monument. It reminds us that history is not a static thing. It's a narrative that is shaped, edited, and sometimes censored. The Statue of Liberty is still a powerful symbol of hope and freedom for millions of immigrants and dreamers who sail into New York Harbor. But it's also a monument to a forgotten promise, a testament to a story that was deemed too uncomfortable to tell. The woman who was erased, the original Black Lady Liberty, represents a crucial part of the American story. She represents the struggle, the sacrifice, and the unyielding spirit of those who fought for their own freedom. Her story is a reminder that the symbols we cherish often have hidden histories, and that the fight for true liberty and recognition is an ongoing one. The broken chains are still there, at her feet, if you know where to look. They are a quiet, almost hidden testament to the statue's original purpose. They are a whisper from the past, reminding us of the woman they erased, and the powerful story of freedom that was almost lost to time. It forces us to ask ourselves, what other stories have been erased? And what does true liberty look like? It's a conversation that began over 150 years ago, and one that we are still having today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.